The anatomy of a SharePoint page you can think of as a couple different components. The first of which is the master page. So the master page defines what different content regions there are. So there's probably something that says there's a body region, a header, and then also a menu or some other sort of side region that you put in there. And we'll just call that region 3. This master page has no content with it. The only thing that it has associated with it are the layout and the feel. So you can also define the CSS that it will use. Now you can also use the master page to hard code certain footers. So if I have a copyright, copyright 2009, whatever, that has to appear on all the pages that use that master page, I can hard code that into the master page as well. These pages have the .master extension to them. The other part of the page is a content page. Now, the content page, in the case of SharePoint, when you're using master pages and web part pages, gets overlooked often. But this is actually what stores the content. And these are ASP pages, ASPX in particular, that have an ASP tag and then define a content area. So these are content placeholders. And then over here we have the different content areas that are just listed out, and whatever is supposed to show up in them gets put in there. If you want to draw a loose correlation, this is the same type of thing that you would be doing with your XSLT, and then this is your content XML. But again, it doesn't quite fit because it's not an actual XSL transform. It's actually a rendering process that happens in IIS, and they're both considered ASPX pages, not XML. I want to make that very clear. But then these content regions, what they can do is also define that there's placeholders and then there's also web part placeholders. And so with these two, then you can create the fully functional website, which then gets rendered out down when it gets requested into the final ASPX page. Now, web parts are all part of .NET 2.0 plus. So the CSS support, the various ASP tags that you'll be using, and web parts are not SharePoint specific. There are SharePoint specific functionality in each of these, but for the most part, if you've done plain old .NET coding, you'll know how to make master pages and web parts in SharePoint. Some of the differences from the standard SharePoint, from standard ASP.NET to standard SharePoint master pages and kind of page rendering mechanisms are that they introduce the concept of these two key placeholders, I guess we can call them. So there's the default master page, and then there's a custom master page. And both of these placeholders can be used to define a certain master page. And SharePoint, in SharePoint Designer, which we'll show you here in an upcoming lesson, can be used to assign a default master page. So where in standard .NET, you have to explicitly say which master page is used to go with the content page, SharePoint allows this to be stored in memory and in the site configuration. And this is great power because you can decide that I have this site where the functionality is essentially the same. I just want the layout to be a little different because of my client requirements. For example, I want to apply custom branding. I might want to put their logo in the master page. I might want to do these things that really aren't that complicated and don't change the functionality, but I want to make it specific to my company. That's where this functionality comes in, because if the pages were designed correctly, it used the custom and the default master pages, and then all you have to do is in SharePoint Designer pick to assign as default. And what this allows you to do is, in one click, change the entire look and feel of the entire SharePoint site. And that is a very quick overview of the various branding and layout capabilities of SharePoint. There's a lot more that you can do with more advanced functionality in SharePoint Designer. And we will dive into that in a few lessons. But right now, continue playing around with the different capabilities that you can do within the SharePoint interface.